Hi, Professor TD here.
Hello viewers at home. I'm Dr. T.I. Welcome back again to our Marriage Lockdown Corner, where we discuss issues around our marriages. We all know that marriage is supposed to be a place where we receive care, love, and security.
And we as couple are supposed to grow, blossom, and even bear good fruits so that we can find joy in our marriages.
However, there are small things that hinders us as couples.
And these are little foxes that if left unattended, they will destroy our marriages.
And that introduces us to the topic which we are going to learn about today: catch little foxes in your marriage. So, Prof, can you please tell us what are the small foxes in our marriages?
Dr. T.I., when we talk about small foxes, we're talking every single thought, every single emotion, every single action that seek to destroy your marriage. And we have, in our discussion, decided to package them under 4 categories. The first one is the effector. And when we're talking about the effector, we're making reference to actions that when one expresses them, they tend to destroy what you are trying to build. And these actions, they are either verbally expressed or physically expressed. Let's go through a few examples so that then we can make the effector much more audible.
Yeah.
When we talk about factors that are action-oriented and small, we are referring to things like, say for instance, you no longer touch me, you no longer kiss me, you no longer even express words to say I love you. And of course, if you check in the African context, normally we as African men are not even used to say I love you. Some of the people have, they miss to be told I love you.
Or you even say, that day when I proposed to you to say I love you, that's it.
Yes,
you think I've
yes.
changed today? No.
Yes, indeed. There are people who have last hear the words I love you the day they were proposed. And these things are small. When you don't express yourself to say I love you, I miss you, and these are small things that if left unattended, they can easily destroy your marriage.
Right.
And sometimes people tend to take their work to the bedroom, and they continue working in their bedroom. And these are actions that if left unattended, they will kill the spark of intimacy in the bedroom. These are just but few examples.
Effectors.
Effectors.
Okay.
And then we have the so-called X factor. And when we talk about the X factor, now we are referring more to your ex and your past experiences. Do you think your ex can be a small fox?
Yes.
In your marriage? How?
Yes. Because now the relationship where I'm in is the present. I cannot go back to the past and bring the past in my present. If I bring the past in my present, then it will create problems in my marriage. I've heard so many people saying, if I still communicate with my ex, there are reasons. Or sometimes they even say, my ex now is my friend. But the friendship is questionable, especially if maybe there is a bond of children in between, wherein now people come together, communicate often because there is this factor of a child that I think need to be viewed, or that need to be done carefully, not to destroy one's marriage.
If you have children together, and you're still connected through children, it must be kept professionally. Otherwise, it has a potential to destroy the current marriage where you find yourself in. So if we check the X factor, you will realize that if the network is still there and you have not taken the scissor to say cut, when you are in this marriage, then you start to think about the past. You start to think about all the good things that your ex used to do, all the sweet words that he used to say, and in the process, you start to have a gap between you and your current spouse. The other issue on the X factor is around your past experiences. So there are people who get married, and in the end, they have so many past experiences that they are carrying. And now you have found somebody, and this person loves you dearly, but you keep on comparing this person to your past. And this is very, very dangerous.
Yeah, it is.
And it brings us to the C factor, which I normally call them C factor. On one hand, it's all about this comparison that I was talking about. To say you tend to compare your past experiences with your current. And at times you miss the past so dearly that you don't find joy in your present marriage. So that every time you go for intimacy, you're thinking of Jack. In the past, you're thinking of Peter, or you're thinking of Mary, or you're thinking of Rose, or any other person who was involved in your past. And that kind of comparison, never do comparison, at least if you have past experiences. It's very, very, very dangerous. The second C, because we're talking now the CC factor, the second C is around communication. And communication, yes, we'll have a special session around communication. But there are a number of things that we can already use as examples as far as communication is concerned. For instance, you'll find that people tend to withdraw from the conversation. You want to talk, and then the other one is not interested. And this is a fox, a small fox, that if left unattended, it will spoil the whole vineyard. It will spoil the whole conversation and the whole relationship. It's not only about withdrawal, it's also about arrogance. Some of the people are too arrogant that if you are engaging with them, they show that arrogance, and immediately once somebody brings arrogance in the conversation, already you feel threatened. How do I continue with the conversation?
Let me just drop in. Sometimes on this aspect which you are trying to outline about the arrogance, if maybe somebody, the person who is doing that is a male figure, sometimes you could say, it's because I'm the head of this family, and that's why I'm saying things in this way, or I want things to be done this way. So how should one engage in that kind of a conversation where there is no way, or it's my way?
The kind of authority that you are given as the head of the family, it's one where you should show persuasion. It's not about force, trying to push your views, trying to force your views, trying to ensure that your voice is heard in the process, or you want to even win every argument in the house. It's a matter of opening up, engaging, listening, yes, and then in the process you'll be enriched by your partner. But if you want to claim that you are a husband, you are the head, and everything that you says go, then you are in trouble. You are in big, big trouble. And when it comes to communication, other issues are around nagging. And in this instance, you know, they normally say women are like mosquitoes.
Mosquitoes.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. What do you say about the issue of nagging? Because we have dealt with this so many times whilst providing counseling to couples.
Yeah. One thing I've learned around the issue of nagging, although it's not nice to be referred to as a mosquito, but then one thing which I've noticed is that the way how we are wired is very much different, men and women. Women want things to be done now. And with men, if you ask for something and it's not done now, you come back, you find that it's not done now, you will continue to ask, is the door fixed? Is the door fixed? Because in my mind, I'm thinking about security. And on the other hand, I believe this other person, the male figure, is trying to figure it out. How can I fix that? Because I don't think you are more verbal like us. We are referred to be people who nag because we say things verbally. And whereas in your terms, you're thinking, you are not verbalizing how things are supposed to be done. And that is why we are referred as people who are nagging. But one thing which I've learned is that to all ladies out there, say thing once. Say a thing once. Never repeat it. Let's say, for example, a storage is blocked outside. I mean, the kitchen one is blocked. And as you know, our nature, we don't like such things. And then you go to your daddy and say, no, daddy, the storage outside there, it's not working. And then you say, yeah, I'll attend to it. And you see the person is sitting, reading the newspaper. And on the other hand, you're worried now about hygiene. So please, don't go back and ask him to do it again. Leave it right there. He's thinking about it. He will attend to it at the right time.
Yes, you need not be a person who nags now and then. It will destroy your marriage. The other thing is around this issue of communication is on the issue of back chats, where you find pleasure talking about your husband, find pleasure talking about your wife, maybe with friends, maybe with your sisters, maybe with your parents, and you talk bad about them in their absence. So this thing is very, very destructive. And the last thing on communication has to do with emotions. Playing emotions. Blackmailing somebody using emotions. There are people where, you know, when you start talking to say, let's address this matter, already they get angry, they get emotional. Or, let's address this matter. Now, you will see a person is starting to cry. Cry. When are we going to resolve the matter? And this is very destructive.
How about, now that we are talking about being emotional, crying or running away, how about people who run away from the very same table where we are supposed to engage?
It's in the nature of men to always want to shut down the conversation. It's either they would intimidate you by being arrogant or trying to shut down the conversation completely. Let's not talk about this. And in a way, if they can't do that, you will see once there is a problem, then they start to run away. And at times, they don't just run away. They run away and start flirting with other women outside, start to find comfort somewhere else. And this is very dangerous. And that is why we are saying all these little foxes, once you pick them, try and address them soonest. And then the last factor.
Before you go to the last factor,
Mm-hmm.
how about this on this CC factor?
Yes.
How about the issue of competition between people within the marriage?
Yes, it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous because instead of supporting each other, you start to be working against each other. I've seen men and women who, say for instance, your husband or your wife stands up in public to say something. And immediately after they've raised whatever issue they've been raising, you will see now a hand quickly. And the hand is coming from the wife or is coming from the husband. They want to say something better than what the husband or the wife has just said. It's that kind of competition is not healthy. It does not encourage both, to work together and to resolve issues or even work together so that they can achieve greater goals in their lives.
Yeah, I think this is one thing which can also try to highlight even to the academics, wherein now all of us, we want to come back and say, I've got an article, mine has been accepted. Then it means that all of us now, we are going to run, trying to make time on our own, trying to establish ourselves, which in a way we need to try and minimize how we do things and avoid competition in our marriages at all material costs.
In the past, when we were discussing this matter, we even said, please know that you wear different hats at different times.
Yes.
And be as supportive to one another. Instead of competing, complement each other in the process. And now, with regard to the last factor, which is your TT factor. By TT, first and foremost, the first T refers to technology. And you know as to how many couples, how many marriages are being destroyed by these folks. Technology. Be it WhatsApp, be it a telephone. Sometimes these telephones are put on a what do you call this, vibration or silence, so that it will not ring and the wife will not, even when you are answering, you will want not to answer in the presence of the other. You will want to run away.
Yeah, because there is no network.
You see? And now you start to come up with all sorts of excuses. Others will just go even to bed and they are forever. They are talking to somebody else. This thing has a potential to make your relationship grow sour. And it's not nice. Technology, yes, it's good, but be careful that technology should not ruin your happiness in your marriage.
That's true.
That's one T. And when it comes to the second T, it's around temptation. And I think you, by now, understand the nature of man. When it comes to temptation, there are a few things that you can tell us around men in terms of how does it work? How does it work when we facing the T factor of temptation as a little fox?
Hey, the T factor is it's a very critical issue, which I think it needs one to understand how men are wired. And I think most of us as ladies, maybe sometimes in our lives when we are traveling with our husbands, maybe have seen that when he is driving and there is a lady on the road wearing, the way how we wear our clothes these days. And then they will tend to look right there. And then you'll be asking yourself, and then what? Because you're thinking that he is thinking about the other person. Whereas the point is, that is how they are wired. They are wired to see and appreciate. And then after seeing, they know very well that I will eat at home.
But you see, the danger with that is that we often entertain evil thoughts. Because with us, it's a matter of looking and already you are attracted. And if you go and start to engage, then you're fallen into a trap, and that will surely destroy your marriage.
It becomes a big problem. Just think about that lady in your office, or ladies in your office. Just think about the gentlemen in your office who try to entertain you, and maybe just think about this. Let's say a day before you had an argument with your husband, with your wife, and then you go to work and there are these people who they try to entertain you, and you feel like, it's like, here, if I can move to this one, this man or this lady, life can be easier for me, because at home it's like I'm in hell. It's not like that, my dear friends. Grass is not greener on the other side. You have to water the grass in your yard.
Yes, grass is not always greener on the other side. And please, water your own.
Yes. Now that we have outlined the small foxes in our marriages, how do we catch these small foxes?
In Song of Songs, chapter 2, verse 15, we are instructed that we need to catch small foxes. And the image that we are given there is this vineyard which was almost at the verge of bringing flowers, blossoming, in order to give good fruits. But then there were little foxes running around and spoiling that season of blossoming. And the same applies with marriages.
Right.
We need to catch all the small foxes that we have identified, even those that which we didn't mention. Is the responsibility of viewers at home to be able to sit down and say, in our case, which are our small foxes, that which we need to catch. And how do we catch them? Yes, you are right. The first thing that I need to mention in this regard is around the issue of love. Love one another dearly. As a couple, you have a debt to dearly love one another. And this you need to express through words, you need to express through actions, including buying one another gifts, even if they are small gifts, including taking each other out, spending more time together, and indeed the issue of intimacy, where you make sure that you excel in that area. That is love. Love one another dearly.
I've got this question from a friend of mine. And the question was, how and why you seem like you are this happy couple who never fight, who never experience challenges. So I said to the friend of mine, no, it's not like that. We also experience our small foxes. But the point is, we know that we are two sinners in this marriage who do not want to give up on each other. It means that whenever we see or we notice these small foxes in our relationship, we try by all means to arrest them.
And indeed, it brings us to the second solution, to say, if you are couples, you need to know that you are two sinners who should never give up on each other. Two sinners who should always cover each other with more grace.
And I think you might be saying this, and somebody who is watching us right now is saying, you know what, Prof. and Dr. Mashau, you know I can forgive all other people, but not this one of mine. We are talking about that one whom you think you cannot forgive. For you to have a better relationship, you need to cover each other with more grace and more grace.
And remember the golden rule, do unto others that which you want them do to you.
Yes.
And these simply say to you, if you want others to forgive you, why not forgive others? Today it's your spouse who is on the wrong side of things, and tomorrow it might be you. And that is where you need to learn to cover each other with more and more grace.
Let me just talk to my dear sisters outside there, that I know the way how we are. We remember things which happened 10 years ago. We remember things which happened 15 years ago. We remember even the color, even the season, even the day. That those kind of things, they ruin our marriages. Because every time when we have to resolve issues, we'll go back and take things which are down there in our conscience and bring them back on the table. We need to learn to discuss one thing at a time.
Learn to forgive and move on. And please don't use past experiences, because otherwise they will always ruin your joy. They will ruin your ability to be able to forgive the other, because each time you will always be opening that can of worms and be reminding your spouse to say, this is what you have always been doing. The third issue around how to catch the little foxes is communicate more. Please, please, please open up the communication channel and ensure that you engage on those issues that you have identified as your little foxes, and allow each other space to pour out your hearts, because at times we don't communicate in such a manner that you say everything that you want to say. And then the fourth issue, protect each other. Never expose the weaknesses of the other to the world, including your family, including your friends, including your colleagues at work. Never discuss your spouse behind their back. Protect them. And even when people start to talk bad about them, you must find a way to protect them and ensure that they are protected. The last one is around the issue of temptation. It's around the issue of thinking about your past experiences. These are the things that you need to fight. Fight every evil thought in your life, every evil mind, every evil action in your life. In that way, when you start to fight, wage the battle against these little foxes, they will surely run away. But at times, when temptation is abound, then you have to run. Baleka. Baleka. The singer says,
Baleka. Run. You have to run.
Baleka.
You have to run.
Baleka. 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 Monya wasabili.
Final words from us today. If you find this presentation helpful in your case, we are so grateful that the Lord is doing something in your marriage. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Keep safe. Until we meet again.
Shalom.
Shalom.